Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below for Printing Press or any other game. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going back to the olden days of printing presses where we're going to be making frames and looking at cards and try to put together the right picture in the right frame. So let's take a look at Printing Press. This is sort of a standalone spin-off game of Gutenberg, which was a sort of a heavier Euro game, where this is more of a quick tactical spatial game. So let me show you how it works. I'll see you on the other side. In Printing Press, you're going to have a frame, and within that frame, you're going to be building the different aspect that's going to be going in there being printed. You're going to be having some goals that you'll be drafting along with the frame that has some goals. And you're going to be drafting these cards to try to place them in certain aspects to basically get as many points as possible, because at the end of the round, you're going to be picking which 3x3 grid you want this to be, the frame, and then you're going to be going ahead and scoring that. So that's pretty much how you play in general. Let's talk about it in more detail. Now the game is played over 3 main rounds, and you're going to score at each of those rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. Now this board just helps you kind of track the phases of each of the rounds. Now each round goes through 4 phases. The first phase is to select the orders, which essentially is a plate and a frame. Now you're going to do this in what's called initiative order. This will change throughout the game, but each player starts with a character. It gives you an initiative order and also gives you a little special ability that you can use throughout the game, but that helps you for your base initiative order, which essentially is turn order, and it is important in the game. So what you're going to do is first is you're going to draft one of these, and they come together as a pair. There'll be one more than the amount of players. So in this case, this isn't a 2-player game. You have 3 to choose from. Initiative goes first. You're just going to be selecting one of these 3 to put in front of you. Then you can go to the second phase, which is selecting cards. Now, what happens is, now whoever selected last gets an initiative cube. This adds to your initiative, so I have an initiative of 5 now, 4 plus 1. So let's say I get to go first because I have the highest initiative. There's going to be, again, an amount of cards put out, players plus 1, so in a 2-player game, there's 3 cards. And you'll notice that there's, some of them are going to be horizontal, some are going to be, horizontal or vertical. There's a little number here that shows you which way, the orientation, because when you get these cards and you start building your tableau, you can't sort of rotate them. That's the way they are. Now let's look at this. Here's my main goal here. I want to get OOA, and secondary, I want the O next to an O. If I do this, I'll get 3 points for this, and 2 more points if I do that. So just right off the bat, I know this one's good because it's got an O, right? I also want to try to get a blue ink in the left quadrant, the left column here. There's no blue here. I also want to get these 2 symbols, again, somewhere in my grid. And so we look at this and we say, well, there's this and this on this, all right? So do I go for this and try to get these O's done, or do I go for this, which actually already does this? Another thing to point out is, so if I get this main one right, and I get both of these right, I also get this additional thing. So this is your main goal. So in this case, I'm probably going to work on this one first, but you can see there's some tough decisions right off the bat. So you'll just take this and you'll put it in your tableau. Now let's say the next round comes. You're going to do this 6 times throughout the round. And again, initiative might have changed. And so somebody else may have drafted one of these and taken one of these, and then it's my choice. Let's say, you know what? Hey, I'm really trying to get these 2 O's. Let me get this. This will get discarded. Now, with this, I can start building it. I'm building at the end a 3x3 grid, but I could, you can do it any way you want. I can even cover stuff like this, right? Now I want OO, but I want the O next to the O, so I might do something like this. Now, essentially, I'm going to be giving up probably one of the sides of this, because at the end, again, you're going to be able to decide where this goes, and so you're starting to build your tableau, and once you place these, you can't move them. Now another thing is, let's say you were going to select this card, but you didn't really want it. You can actually discard this card. You'd take 3 tiles from the bag and select one. Now those tiles do all sorts of different things, like they are different aspects that you would normally see, like ink and things like that. So hey, look at this, I got the blue ink one, right? So I want this blue ink to be on the left. So if I put it something like this, I can overturn this, and I know this is going to be the left column. Or if I want this to be the left column, maybe I do something like this. So it's totally up to you as to how you want to build this. Maybe I do something like this. Now you can also flip it to the other side. These are initiative cubes. So now, for the rest of the game, I always have 4, 5, 6. So it's going to help me with turn order. So lots of flexibility here. Now you'll do this until you've gotten, you've drafted 6 cards. So after the 6th card draw, I have this. 2 of the times, I discarded it for tiles, and then everyone gets to close their frame and score. So again, you're doing a 3x3 grid. So do I want this? Do I want this? Do I want this? You get to decide where it goes. In this case, I'm going to go like this, because when we look at this, I have OOA. I do have O and O next to each other, so this is going to get me 5 points. I have the blue in the left, so that's going to be 3. Here, I have this, but I don't have this, so I don't get that. So if I had gotten both of these and this, I would have gotten 2 additional, but I don't. Also at the end, you get to decide on one of the 2 bonuses for the rest of the game that you're going to score at the end, and that's these. And so, and as you can see, look, I have something hanging out, but hey, that's what you got to decide to do. Now here, what I'm going to do is every gray, I'm going to get either 2 points, or every one of these, I'm going to get 2 points. And you can decide. Now, I don't have the gray here, so I'm going to go like this. But here's the kicker. This doesn't score to the end of the game. You're going to do 3 of these because the game's 3 rounds long. So my future ones, I'm going to be looking for this, maybe even looking for frames and plates that have those in it to push me towards this goal because I already have it. And so it's really interesting how you're sort of building up, and your decisions in the earlier rounds will, they'll kind of focus your strategy for long term. So it's very tactical, but there's also some longer term strategy there. That's pretty much it. You're gonna play for 3 rounds, score all these, whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. All right, first let me say that I played Gutenberg, which this is sort of a spiritual successor to. Gutenberg was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. This game is obviously set in sort of the same setting, uses a lot of the same iconography, a lot of the same art style, a lot of the same theme, basically. Other than that, they don't really share a whole lot. So if going into this, the fact that I like Gutenberg does not really play anything into this other than if I like the look and style, then I'm gonna like the look and style here. If you did not like Gutenberg, that does not mean you won't like this game. And if you like Gutenberg, it doesn't mean that you're gonna like this one. The only thing that really transfers is that whole art style and graphic design and stuff. If you hated that about the original and the history of it, then this is the same. Other than that, it's completely different. This is a fun spatial puzzle. I like it. You're moving things around. You're drafting, essentially, selecting different things, the frames and then the cards, and trying to put them in. It is a fun spatial puzzle. I like that you have the flexibility of overlapping the cards and then setting the frame. And so like you'll have some pieces that stick out like I showed in the overview, or you might have some that aren't even, that's empty in certain spots, but because you needed to get the ones that you want, having that flexibility, that 3x3 grid that you're moving the frame around is just, it's really clever. Now I've got to say, almost always, whenever there's a game and you're doing spatial stuff, but you can overlap a portion of something, I don't know what it is about my brain. I like spatial games, but in those style spatial games, for some reason, something doesn't click in my brain with those, and I typically do not like them. This one I still liked. I can't say exactly what or why overlapping things in this was better than some of the other games. Maybe because you're confounded to that 3x3 grid and you're constantly just keeping that in mind. Maybe because it was very much fixed as to what you're trying to create. That's probably it. But I typically don't like those style of things of overlapping different parts. I don't know, my brain doesn't work that well. But for this, it was fine. I like that you're basically trying to complete as many goals as you can, and sometimes you might be able to get everything done. But there are going to be sometimes you can't. You can't really do everything for the entire game. So you're going to have some tough choices of like, do I go for this or do I go for that, right? And so you're always trying to weigh this out. It's like, do I give up the secondary goal on the tile? Because if I get the main goal and I get the other 2 in the frame, I get this bonus, right? And so you're trying to like, and a lot of times the goals are at odds with each other. You're trying best when you draft to have goals that sort of synergize with each other, but it's not always going to happen because it's all randomized. I mean, granted, you're selecting the things, the pair, but a lot of times if you're last, you're getting, a 50-50 choice there. But I say that to say this, that like there's a lot of flexibility and goals compete with each other, and that's good. It gives you a good decision space. The initiative, super important in this game, just like it was in Gutenberg, but it can absolutely create hate drafting, which I like, quite honestly. More interaction with players, more keeping track of what they're doing. You're like, hey, these 2 things, out of these 3, I'll pick it second to last. All 3 of them are quite fine for me, but this one is really good for this player, so I'm going to take that one so they can't have it. I like that type of thing. I love that you have the flexibility of discarding a card to draw 3 tokens and keep the one you want. And it's like mitigation over mitigation, because like, I don't like this, I'm going to throw it away. A lot of times I found myself taking the first 2 or 3 cards and then almost sometimes for the rest of the round getting tokens. And I'm like, I've already got these things done. I'm really looking for this one thing. And you get 3 tokens and you're like, I didn't get it. But even when you didn't get the thing you want, you could maybe use it for the initiative, right? So it's mitigation on top of mitigation, and it works really well. Having the tokens be initiative It was a brilliant idea because if you didn't get what you're looking for, at least you're going to be moving up in turn order for the rest of the game because of that. I like that. It's really good. The bottom frame, those bonuses, I love how those impact future round decisions. Because it's like now I'm not just looking at right now, I'm looking at what did I do before, what did I pick? Every decision that you make later in the game changes because of that. And I like that because the game it's very tactical, what am I doing right now? But also because of that, you have some longer term planning that has a good balance. Now onto the negatives here. This game can induce a little analysis paralysis, or AP, due to those spatial aspects. Now, at one point I was like, I wonder why they didn't allow you to like rotate the cards. It'd be so much more flexible. Well, A, it probably would be too easy. And B, I like that because it reduces the amount of analysis paralysis that could be there. If you could have free willy-nilly, like turn the cards any way you want, I think your brain would explode. I like the fact that they put that restriction in there. Even with that, you might have some, a lot of times it's when you're trying to draft the cards and stuff, and you're like, does this fit? Can I put this here? Then would this do? Sometimes you have to like look at it and do this. So sometimes you still can have analysis paralysis. There's a few of the things that is kind of weird here graphic design wise. The large bonus on the frame, after you play the game once, even in starting your second game, you'll probably not forget this unless you've not played it for a while. But it's like the big bonus number on the frame, it's not really easily reminded that you need to get both of the things on the tile. The main thing on your tile, and then both of the things on the frame. There's no sort of iconography that helps you remember that. You just have to remember it. Same with the bonus at the bottom. That bonus is going to be there for the rest of the game. There's not really, I don't know. It's easy. Again, you always will remember it after the first game, but during a first game, it's hard to because it's not very intuitive, at least the first one that I just mentioned there, and iconography doesn't help you with that. They should have had a line like an arrow up where the tile is placed above the frame, something like that. Little nitpicks here. Also, you really have to be careful, and I think the rules even tell you to do this, is when you start building your tableau each round, you better build it where you want to keep it for the rest of the game. Because your thought is to put it right in front of you. But you really shouldn't. The first one you should kind of put a little bit cocked to the left, the second one in the middle, and the third one right, because once you put the frame on there, it's not easy to sort of like move it around, because all the cards sort of slide. I don't know that there is an easy way to fix this. It's just one of the negatives of the game. That's just because of the game plays. Make sure you place the first one a little bit to your left, the second one in the middle of you, and the third one a little bit to the right. If you do that, you're fine. But if you don't and you're trying to move it, it's a pain in the butt. The last thing is there is a decent amount of luck in this game. Now granted, there is mitigation on mitigation that I mentioned, but I have played one game of this where in the last round, I need certain letters and not once did that letter come up. And I needed that letter for the main goal and the secondary goal on my tile. Now granted, I could have, and I did a lot of times towards the end, throw away those cards to get tokens, and I just never got the letter there either. So there is some luck here. Sometimes you just might not get what you need, and it hurts. So again, it doesn't happen all the time. It's probably nothing that happens often, but it did happen to me once, and as hard as I tried, not once did that letter come up in any of the, I was playing a two-player game, so any of the 18 cards that came up didn't have it, and none of the 9 tokens that I drew, the last 3 cards, had it. Probably a very small percentage that would happen, but it can happen. And if you don't get your main thing and the other 2 at least, you're not going to be doing very well. Anyway, there is some luck to the game, just so you know that. But it is a short game, so it's not that bad. But for all these reasons, if you are looking for a short tactical game that has some long-term planning that's very spatial, that's pretty cool. You want to check out Printing Press. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games, and helping you find the next one you love. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and if you missed their 4.0 Kickstarter, you can still late pledge and take advantage of over 40 unlocked stretch goals and early fulfillment. This campaign featured a new Young Sherlock table, perfect for children's gaming, and movable coffee table, 10 new thematic mats by top artists like Vincent Dutray, a new designer art series Minecraft topper with thematic art from Brent Woodside, and some of the best package deals they've had, including game mat bundles. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge now.